America has the largest number of immigrants than any other country in the world. According to the latest census, we have 47 million immigrants within our borders. That represents about 20% of the entire world's international residents. So 1 in every 5 immigrants on Earth are here in the US. As such, about 14% of our entire population is immigrants. Of course, technically, just about the entire country descended from immigrants, unless you're a great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandkid of a Native American, your ancestors were not born here. But when we say immigrants in this video, we're going to be referring to people who were not born in this country and have established residence. Today, we're going to talk about the states that have the highest population of immigrants. It's quite clear there are some parts of the country where people like to make their home upon arrival, and some places where newcomers avoid. We're going to get into where people go and where people don't go and why. So grab your visas and get ready to fill out a lot of paperwork as we go through America's immigration capitals. Got a dream they come to share. They're coming to America today. We begin our tour of the immigrant capitals of America in the state of Illinois, where 13.8% of the population is foreign-born. Now you might be thinking, Illinois? You mean the state with all the corn-shucking rednecks? Well, you could pretty much divide Illinois up into 3 separate states. Most of Illinois, which is mostly corn-shucking rednecks in small towns and farms. Chicago's suburbs, which is mostly middle class, and Chicago. Chicago makes up about 1/5 of Illinois' population, and about 75% of the state's entire population lives in the Chicago metro area. This is where most of Illinois' immigration population lives, about 23% to be exact. Why do immigrants move to Chicago? For the awesome pizza and crime, of course. No, they want a better life, and immigrants tend to cluster in large metro areas, which offer jobs. Half of Chicago's 557,000 immigrants are from Mexico, with China and Poland coming in a distant second and third, and nearly half of all of Chicago's immigrants are naturalized citizens. Our next best destination for foreign-born residents in America is the state of Maryland, where just under 15% of residents are new. And of that 15%, about half have citizenship. Additionally, about 1 in 4 children in Maryland has at least one immigrant parent. Of course, as we'll see throughout this video, the largest part of the immigrant community in this state is in and around a large city. In this case, Baltimore. You can see here that about 1/3 of all residents in the Baltimore metro area are foreign-born. The top countries of origin for Maryland immigrants: El Salvador, India, and China. Some areas way out in the sticks are only about 1% foreign-born. We'll talk about why immigrant populations don't go to rural areas in a bit, but odds are if you don't speak English in backwoods Maryland, you will likely be ostracized, sadly. One other quick point. Earlier we mentioned that 14% of our entire population is made up of foreign-born residents. You can see in this chart that immigration to the US has picked up by a lot since the 1980s. In fact, foreign-born residents and their descendants have been the main driver of our population growth. You might ask, why did things pick up so dramatically in the last 40 years? Because of our awesome culture. I mean, check this out. Who wouldn't want to live here when you see this gem? There's Walmarts and burritos and sports and breakfast cereal in most other countries too. So why America? Mostly for work, to be with our families, for better educational opportunities, and for safety. At least that's what the immigrants tell poll takers. But look at this. The immigration rate to the US has stalled since President Trump took office. That's due to his staunch immigration policies. Here in Massachusetts, the population of foreign-born residents is 15.7%, and 52% of all immigrants here have citizenship. China is the main country of origin, where 9% of all immigrants come from. The Dominican Republic and India are also popular locations for Massachusetts immigration pools. Massachusetts may or may not be a surprising state on this list. There are probably some states that are definitely not a surprise when it comes to their foreign-born percentages. The lighter green states are the ones with the least number of immigrant families. Montana's is only 2%, Wyoming's is 3%, North and South Dakota are really low. But only 1.6% of West Virginia's population is foreign-born, which is definitely not a surprise if you've ever been there. The chart also shows you from which countries most of our immigrants hail from. Very interesting indeed. And another interesting fact, I know there's a lot of them, it turns out many of our larger metro areas would actually be shrinking if it wasn't for immigration. Cities like Philadelphia, Detroit, and San Jose are examples. And some cities have huge immigrant growth. Look at this list, which shows the share of growth attributed to immigration in some of our largest cities. Would you believe it? Cincinnati's growth is tops in America when it comes to immigration, and Birmingham, Alabama. Now, Miami, a city which we usually think of when it comes to immigration, is only third. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days, these boots are gonna walk up to the USA. The state of Texas ranks 7th for its immigration population, where 16.2% of its residents are foreign-born. But only about a third of Texas's foreign-born residents are citizens. And as you might guess, Mexico is the country with the most immigrants here in the Lone Star State. Has the Mexican population increased here in Texas over time? Yes. In fact, across America, look how quickly the migration from Mexico into the U.S. has skyrocketed. And then you can see how that number has gone down again, as soon as President Trump was elected. About 18% of all residents in Hawaii are foreign-born, and 56% of those are citizens of the USA. Hawaii's share of foreign-born residents has gone down quite a bit. Sure, the number of foreign-born residents has gone up here, but Hawaii's been passed up by other states, which are even more desirable destinations. Back in 1990, Hawaii was the third most popular choice for foreign nationals. About half of all newcomers to Hawaii come from the Philippines.
I'd love to live in Hawaii. I don't blame people for wanting to live there.
I can see that, though it's pretty expensive there. Hey, but this brings up a case of contention among longtime subscribers. Where were you born, Mappy?
In a library in a small town in eastern Illinois.
Oh, I didn't know you're from Illinois. Do you have your paperwork to show that?
We don't.
Well, I might have to call ICE on you then. Okay, I can sense your dread through the computer. But YouTube viewers, we can't make an exception for Mappy and his family, right? We can't have Mappy living here illegally, can we? That wouldn't be fair to everyone else. Anyway, we'll come back to that subplot later. But we're here in Nevada right now. Now, while Hawaii went from number 3 to number 6 over the past 30 years, Nevada's gone the other way, from having the 9th most immigrants to the 5th most immigrants. As it stands today, 19% of all Nevada residents were born overseas. And no, they aren't living on ranches out in the desert. The biggest draw are the hotels and casinos in Las Vegas, which employ workers from just about every country on Earth. What do immigrants offer our country, you might ask? A lot. A few examples include they serve as healthcare workers and help care for our seniors. They often take lower wage jobs that other Americans won't do, and many are entrepreneurs. That's great. I was not born in the USA. I was not born in the USA. You could probably presume Florida would be on this list, but would you think that Florida would barely top Nevada? It's a big state, so maybe. As it stands, about 1 in 5 of all Florida's residents are foreign-born, and that number's going up quickly. In 1990, only about 13% of Florida's peeps were foreign-born. And way back in 1940, when Florida wasn't even in color, only 4% of Floridians weren't born in U.S. hospitals. 53% of all Florida's residents are official citizens. And Cuba, Haiti, Mexico, Colombia, and Jamaica are all from hence most Florida newcomers hail. 22% of all foreign residents come from Cuba alone, which makes sense because it's right there. Some Cubans come legally and some arrive on the backs of butterflies. Hey, little butterfly and little Cuban lady. Aw. Here's perhaps one of the most interesting charts I've ever found on the internet. This is a list of countries with the highest percentage of immigrants. Of all the countries, most of the top are in the Middle East. United Arab Emirates and Qatar and Kuwait, which I suppose has to do with oil or other wealthy business dealings. Australia is 33% immigrants. Canada is 22%, probably French. But we're way down here at 94th. So while we have by far the most immigrants of any other country, as a percentage of our total population, relatively, we're not that high. Which country has hardly any immigrants? Lesotho, a nation in Africa, and then Cuba and Vietnam, Indonesia, and China. New Jersey certainly isn't a stranger to foreigners. More than 21% of all New Jersey residents are new to the U.S., moving New Jersey up 2 places within the last 30 years. 54% of New Jersey immigrants are U.S. citizens, and at 12%, India is the country with the most foreign nationals here. The Dominican Republic, Mexico, the Philippines, and Korea are also well represented in the Garden State. Of course, whenever you talk about immigration, you have to talk about unauthorized immigration too. New Jersey has one of the highest illegal immigration havens in the U.S., where 6% of the entire population is estimated to be illegally in the state. That's 550,000 people here illegally in one state alone. Hey, Mappy, did you find that paperwork yet?
Still looking.
You better find it. I've got ice punched into my phone, ready to hit send. Okay, so while Mappy still looks for his paperwork that he supposedly has, we're going to go to our immigrant capital runner-up, the state of New York, where 23% of all residents are foreign-born. The DR, China, Jamaica, Mexico, and Ecuador are the original birth homes to New York's immigrant population mostly. Of course New York's on here. It's home to the Statue of Liberty on Ellis Island, which has been welcoming newcomers to this country since like 1886. On the Statue of Liberty itself is a plaque which reads, and I'm paraphrasing here, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Send these, the homeless, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." Which means, come here and start a new life if you want freedom and help, I guess. Oh, my phone's ringing. Maybe it's Ice. Hello?
Hi, I'm watching this video. I just heard you're going to call immigration on Mappy. Where are your papers?
I'm an American, born in Southern California.
We love Mappy. I think we'd rather you go back to where you came from.
Oh, God. Okay. So maybe we should let Mappy off the hook. Hey, Mappy, are you still trying to find the paperwork that proves you're legally entitled to remain on American soil?
Yeah, I have so many spells and potions everywhere, but I know it's in here somewhere.
Wait, spells and potions? You can make magic?
Duh.
Oh, my God. Mappy, I did not know you were a magician. Mappy the magician?
That's what they call me.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, we need to talk about that and have you cast spells and stuff, because that's awesome. But you know what? Go ahead and stop looking for your paperwork. You can stay. Okay. What a happy ending to this video. But wait, there's more. We haven't even talked about our immigration capital. As you might have guessed, it's California, where 27% of the entire population wasn't born in California or in America. Less than half of California's immigrant residents are citizens, and most of the immigrants in California were born in Australia. No, JK, it's Mexico. It's been said here that it's often difficult to write certain laws in California because the exact population isn't quite known here. Immigrants come and go so often, we don't even know the exact count. California's always been the top destination for immigration in America, at least as far back as I felt like looking. Why? Mostly jobs and to join family members who are already here. Considering that since 1 in 8 Americans lives in California, as the immigration population here continues to rise, the nation's going to follow suit. The whole country will continue to change to adjust to the needs, desires, and whims of our new fellow countrymen. Hey Mappy, can you use your magic powers to produce our final map?
Sure.
Okay, that's not right. Here, I'll do it. Sorry everyone. What a letdown on that one.
Hey!
Here's our map of the immigrant capitals of America, the places with the most diversity of foreign-born residents. Okay, so that's it. Hope you learned something. I did. As you go throughout your day, look around a little bit more. You'll probably start to notice different ways of life and unique languages and different cultures, which is a good thing. We're a better country because of our diversity. So let's all get along and let's all get to know each other a little bit more, okay? Far, we've been traveling far, without a home, but not without a star. Free, only want to be free. We huddle close, hang on to a dream. You didn't know I could play piano, did you? Hey guys, if you learned something new or you just like this video, make sure to like it. And if you really like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get all of our videos about what it's like to live in different places in America.